Hey guys, welcome back to the Flied Podcast, Frontline Youth Podcast.
Did that pick up in the mic? Let's keep going. Yes. Welcome, guys.
If you heard that, no, you didn't. Anyway, we are now in installment number 7. We had a short conversation yesterday about how far it's come now. I know 7 doesn't seem like a big number, but we started doing these in September, and at the time of this release, it's December, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a little bit. Shout out to those of you who have been listening since the beginning. Y'all are real. Those of you who have been commenting from the beginning, y'all are the realist.
That's nobody.
Yeah. What?
Episode 1 ain't got no comments. Oh no, I think they're on SoundCloud.
Oh yeah.
The forgotten platform.
I wonder if there's some listeners on here who don't even know what SoundCloud is, or if we ever had one that was on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Just because they're fake, but
No, it's because they're advanced. They have their podcast apps.
Yeah, you're right. But anyway, today's topic is a little different. I think there's a lot of, what's the word? I almost said controversy surrounding this topic. Hold on, let me turn on the fan. Oh. Can y'all hear that? Nah, we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Oh gosh.
I think they can hear it a little bit.
It's whatever, bro.
Y'all be good. You can still hear me. That's all you need to hear. Well, that was episode 1 type of speaking. My bad, y'all. Anyway. Yes, today's topic is kind of different. We came up with it a long time ago, but it is a very interesting conversation. So, the starting question is it necessary to be social as a Christian? Right off the bat, Isaiah, what is your knee-jerk answer?
No.
Okay. And the reason we even had this question is because there are probably people that think so. Now, why is that? Why do you think people think that you should be social as a Christian?
I don't know. Like, there's the idea, the concept, and whatnot of fellowship in that, you know.
Yeah.
And fellowship is like shipping out with the fellows.
Nice. What you doing this weekend? I'm shipping out with the fellows, you know.
What I'm talking about.
Where you going? Nowhere. We just shipping out. Fellowship. Anyway. But why? Why? So you say people think that you need to be social as a Christian because of fellowship. But why do we need fellowship as Christians?
For, I don't know, for strength is what people say. For, helping each other up, being, brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Yeah. That.
Okay. So but I need to backtrack a little bit, actually. What are we defining as being social here? Because I think that's our answers are going to be contingent on that.
I don't know. Being social?
Yeah.
Being social.
Being social, so it's like networking with people to a certain degree.
I guess.
And so do you think that there's a degree of people networking that we should be doing as Christians or no?
Yeah. Yes. I'm going to say yes.
Okay. But you're saying that you believe people say that degree is higher than it needs to be.
No, I think that people will try to make everyone's role the same.
Yeah.
Which is not.
Elaborate. because I know what you mean, but I don't think the listeners do.
Well, when I'm saying that people think that everyone's role should be the same, sometimes people are more social than others, right? And so then they're always, having fellowships, or they always, and a fellowship is like a get together with Christians and non-Christians, or like just a get together.
Yeah.
And then it's like, or they're always, let's go out to eat, let's talk, let's get on the phone, or something simple, let's be in a group chat or something.
Right.
And then it's like, why aren't you doing all these things? It's 'cause that's not what I do. And then, it
but you,
like,
so that's why I know I phrased it kind of weird, but I included the to a certain degree thing because I know you do enjoy fellowships sometimes.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you'll go somewhere, you'll have a lot of fun. You might have funny stories to tell about being there. You'll be happy you spent the time with those people.
Right.
So are you saying that for some people, they like doing that just a lot of times?
Yeah. Like you're saying, do I think people like to do that all the time?
Yes.
Yeah. People do.
But you wouldn't like to do that all the time.
Nah.
That makes sense. So,
but why am I wrong for that? Like, I don't know. It's just like, okay. I've had interactions where, and I think it's normal, but I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not. I'm shy, or I'm introverted, or I'm not a people person, right? And you'll hear things like, well, you need to pray about that.
Yeah.
So that you stop being that way.
Yeah,
like, what are you talking about? It's just who I am, bro. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's bad to you because it's not how you are. That's not.
And I think that answer, that response comes from a lack of understanding of what you mean when you're saying, I'm not a people person. Because, like, as Christians, we're expected to maybe share our faith with friends or with people that we know, because everybody has people somewhere in their life. And so once we receive God in our hearts and then our perspective is new or whatever, it's like a responsibility to a certain degree to share that, that we express what God has done in our lives or who God is, that we believe in God to somebody that they could also have the same understanding and share it. And so when you say I'm not a people person, I think some people are thinking, oh, well, that means he just wants to make an excuse to never invite somebody to know God because, he's too lazy to do that, or he's too uncomfortable and he's not willing to overcome his own whatever. When in reality, you're talking about, I don't want to party every week.
Yeah. I'm not, I'm not always trying to have a conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like some people don't get that.
I think there are. I think that idea that some people have does come from the fact that there probably are a good number of people out there who, for the I'm not a people person reason, are never going to try to tell somebody about Jesus. Honestly, I think that's, I don't know, that's kind of between you and God, because like I wish I told more people about God. I go slow, but it'd be weird for somebody to be like, Elijah, you haven't witnessed to enough people lately. What are you doing with yourself? Are you, what kind of Christian are you? Because it is important as a Christian that we share that, but I feel like that has to come from the internal.
Yeah.
There's not like a quota of people that we need to bring into the church or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the way that it always works. We just have to make ourselves available, I guess, to like it, because you're a person on the earth, especially you're saved. God has a purpose for you to do something for his kingdom. Everybody can be useful in some kind of way. I believe, like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That regardless of personality, background, whatever, that there's something that God wants you to do that could help somebody to get saved or help somebody to stay saved or just bring more souls to him. But I think in the church world, it's confused often for, like, if somebody says God has a plan for your life, that means if you follow the right steps enough times, then you're going to be a pastor or you're going to be a worldwide missionary or something. And though there's nothing wrong with those positions of ministry, there's logistically, that's just not how it's going to work. God hasn't put everybody to do one thing.
Yeah.
And so, like you were saying, they're expecting everybody to go about being a Christian and doing your Christian people caring networking the same way.
Yeah. And it's not only like witnessing either.
Yeah.
You know, like even some simple, like, we're all gonna go, I don't know, out to ice skate or something random.
Yeah.
You want to come? No. Why not? Because, I don't know, it doesn't sound fun.
Yeah. Sometimes it really is that simple. It doesn't have to be made into a theology thing when you don't want to go ice skating. But then there is the, like you were talking about, the fellowship for strengthening. If in some kind of way you have a responsibility to certain people, like maybe if somebody's in charge of a ministry or something, they're expected to show up somewhere. Just that they're visible, you know, they're available, so that people who come to the church or who are coming to the events won't be able to say, oh, well, this person doesn't really care about me and they don't really care about fellowship because they don't want to. I don't know. I feel like there's sometimes where it does make sense. This is just in my opinion, to go or to do something or to have a conversation with somebody just to show them that, like, you would, if that makes sense. Like you dang, this is hard to explain.
Yeah. I'm lost.
I'm not going to say I almost said I kind of am too, but I'm at a loss for the right words. And I think the wrong idea is being communicated by what I'm babbling about right now. So I'm going to move on to the next question.
Word.
So how can different, like, people with different personalities approach doing something for God? If the way to do something for God isn't going to be becoming a pastor for everybody or you know, being a public speaker or something for everybody, then how can people in other positions also do something for God?
It varies, I think, from person to person. I don't think there's any like one thing like, well, here's something you can do, or here's like, you fit in where you fit in, or whatever. What's the saying? Get in where you fit in.
Yes, you get in where you. Anyway. Wait,
Oh my gosh.
That was loud.
Yeah, it was. I'm sorry, y'all.
But elaborate on that. Like, what do you mean you get in where you fit in? Can you give an example of something besides preaching that somebody can do? And I know that sounds really like
broad.
Yeah, and it's super simple. Oh, can you really do something for God besides preaching? But I think some people, it's important to address it because some people see being used by God or doing something for God specifically only as like preaching or being in some kind of preacher position or some kind of church position. So what if somebody doesn't have any of those positions, but they're saved, they love God? Like what can they do for somebody's what can they do for God's kingdom? How can God use them?
They can be an example.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
How so?
What you mean?
I mean, how so? What are they exemplifying?
Christian living. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's that simple. Where, you just live your life and do what you're supposed to be doing. And sometimes people will, take notice. Like, oh, they're making the gays. They're making the gays.
Yeah.
Making the gays. Maybe I can do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sometimes, it's not like something they're thinking about. Like, gotta make sure that I'm presentable so that I can lead these people into the house of the Lord. It's just how they living.
And so I'm glad you mentioned that, because what I was trying to say earlier makes more sense here. But sometimes, like, somebody, I know there are a lot of people. It is a big general culture thing that people believe that Christians in church and going to church and doing their churchy stuff and religious stuff is always going to be different from who they are on the outside. Because on the outside, they're just like everyone else. Like, I know a lot of people believe that Christians and the world are set apart, I'm saying in quotes, because Christians go to church. So they're set apart where they're there because nobody else is at church, but the Christians are there at church. And I think sometimes, like, it's important to that degree for us, to, if we're going to be used by God as an example for other people, that we are somewhere to be seen as an example, not putting ourselves out there like, look at me, you go roller skating and you're like, well, I don't know, I'm skating in the name of Jesus or something, or being extra and being really religious, but showing somebody what, like, different things about Christian character outside of being in church. Like, I can see that as the reason for being places besides church, like going there, but as a somewhat of a responsibility. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, again, it's not a black and white solid thing. Like, you need to go to this many outreaches and you need to go to this many fellowships so that when you reach your exampleship quota, I don't think exampleship is a word, but I hear it a lot. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like that, but it's more relational. The people that are looking to you, they should be able to get to see what your character is as a Christian. Sometimes that requires spending a little bit more time with people in or outside of church, and sometimes it doesn't, depending on the person, their perspective, and all of that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
They can't see me nodding.
So what then are the qualifications for somebody to be able to do something for God?
Be saved. That's it.
Yes. So, just for the record, we're saying you don't need to be great at speaking to people. Are you saying that?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to be the master communicator.
Mm-mm.
You don't need to have a title in the church.
Right.
You don't need to have a crazy Christian background. Not crazy Christian background, but I'm saying like a, I've been going to Deacon Baptist John Supreme Elder the Fifth's Church since 1988. So I'm really, the appointed one to do God's will. That's what I mean by crazy Christian background. Because I've talked to people in outreach and they're like, no, you don't need to worry because, me and God are tight. You know that I went to so-and-so's church? Did you know that? You know how long I've been going to that? I'm like, okay. And so, that's not necessary. And on the flip side, if you're a saved person, and we've talked about this in the past on another podcast episode, You don't need to have done a bunch of terrible things so that you can show somebody the super stark contrast. If you're saved, there is something that you can do for the kingdom of God, is basically what I wanted to get across. Maybe that'll be just through what you're praying for. God might work through your prayer because you were praying. Or, you know, like I said, everybody, regardless of how social or unsocial, has people in their life. Somebody's going to see you. Maybe you just abiding by God's commandments, and you're trying to put on the characteristics that you get from reading your Bible. The people just see that. You never have a conversation about it, but they see you and they're like, wow. And it can make a change.
Yeah.
And so don't feel like, this is for the listeners, that you need to have a certain personality or that you need to have a certain position in ministry or a title or anything like that. But what you do definitely need, but the only thing you need, is to be saved and be willing to obey God.
Yeah.
Because what God wants you to do isn't going to be always the same thing as the person next to you. Most times it's not. Your life is your own life. You got your own, everything about you, not everything about you, but most things about you are unique. And so, yeah, you're in a unique position as a person. God's going to use you in his way.
Yeah.
Okay. So then the last thing I have for the socialness thing is the Great Commission. And so I don't want to misword it. Jeremiah is here with us, for those of you who know Jeremiah. Jeremiah, can you, because I don't have my phone, can you look up exactly what the Great Commission says? And just give us 1 second.
What do you mean? Go out.
Yeah, but I want to get it right word for word before I paraphrase and somebody's in the comments like, well, actually. Just want to be
go
accurate.
out.
Excuse me.
Yuck.
All right. It's Matthew 28:16-20. Then the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go. When they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. Then Jesus came to them and said, this is Jesus speaking to the 11 disciples. One of them's missing. All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, and this is what's called the Great Commission, therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always to the very end of the age.
Mm-hmm.
So when you ask what you need to do something for God, I think this is the answer that most people in a church or just a Christian setting are going to give, is this is our directive from God. As Christians, this is what we need to do. We need to go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and teach them to obey everything that we have been commanded as Christians also. And that God is with you to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so just based on the conversation that we just had, regardless of what position you fit into, if you're saved, there's a way for you to do that. There's a way for you to, because it sounds kind of daunting, making disciples of all nations,
Mm-hmm.
baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son.
I think that just means don't be like only Jewish people.
Yeah.
Like in that day, it'd be like everybody.
Right. So indiscriminately spread the gospel to all people. Like without distinction based on whatever.
Everything, yeah.
And teaching them to obey everything that I've commanded you. How do you think somebody might do that?
How do you think someone would teach them how to obey God?
Yeah. How to follow God's commandments.
I don't know. I feel like that comes, like, you kind of lead them to salvation in any way that you can, and then that kind of stuff like it kind of just works itself out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
With the two examples that we gave, you know, it says this is what God wants us to do. He wants us to go and do these things and teach them to obey everything that we've been commanded. For somebody, one person, God's will for them to do that is maybe through preaching. They're going to teach them to do God's commandments by preaching. Again, there's nothing wrong with preaching. You know, it's a good thing. I think it's a ministry. And God uses some people through that way. And then for others who are not doing that, like Isaiah said, you can teach them through just by the way that you're living. They know you and they know the principles, the values that you have. And just through the conversations that you have or just them observing you, they're learning, you know, the things that God has commanded you, how they might be different from the world, how you personally go about obeying them. And then they see that it's possible for them too. And they do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just in closing, regardless of your social standing, is that what you call it? What do you call it?
I don't know. Your personality.
Yeah. I guess regardless of your personality or your skill set.
Yeah.
Whichever one you have, there is something that you can do for God. You can definitely be effective. I think everybody has a capacity to do something great too. It's not just like, well, some people are going to do the good stuff and some other people are going to do the little stuff, because, you know, there's no such thing as little people or with no, I'm saying shut up. I should not have paused right there.
I know about all that.
There's no such thing.
There we go.
but there's in the eyes of God, there's no such thing as somebody who is less significant because of their or even less significant in their ability to do His will, because everybody has the choice to obey God. Everybody has the capacity through being saved to, you know, start hearing from God. But yeah, that's about it for what I wanted to talk about with the socialness. That's not a word. What do you call it?
The social aspect of Christianity.
Yeah.
Trademark.
For that topic. I thought it would be
2022.
Oh my gosh. I thought it would be cool to talk about that. It makes me think of Israel whenever I think of that topic. For those of you who don't know who that is, that's me and Isaiah's brother.
Yes, sir.
The one in between us, but
yeah.
He watched this sermon from Pastor Ruby on YouTube, and it was about overcoming your personality, and we had a conversation about it because he was sharing his thoughts. It was pretty cool, but the personality thing, yeah, makes me think about it when I think about that topic. Anyway, now I know this is probably the earliest we've ever gone into the second half.
Yeah, this is going to be a shorter episode, mainly because we're recording this during the Thanksgiving weekend, and as I'm sure yours was too, it was, while exciting and fun and happy and thankful, joyful,
yeah,
it was very busy.
Yes.
You know, a lot going on, so we had to get this up, but we made sure we'd get an episode out for you guys because we care about you guys.
Yes.
So, yeah.
It'll probably be fine. I don't want to do episodes shorter in the future, because I mean, like, we usually have a lot to talk about. Like I forget which one of these recent episodes it was. We cut it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dang. And it had been like already an hour and 15 or something.
Yeah.
But there was so much more to say. But, yeah. So there's probably not going to be too many that are this short in the future. But it was just, like he said, with the busy weekend and everything. By the way, hope you guys' Thanksgiving was awesome and great.
Yes. Or if not awesome and great, that, you know, you feel better.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that makes sense. If it wasn't great, I hope you're doing great now. And if you're not doing great now,
talk to the Lord.
Facts. Anyway, yes, so Thanksgiving was just, what was it? Well, at the time of recording, it's 3 days ago.
Yeah.
3 days ago, right? And on this subject, it's a pretty lighthearted subject, but I wanted to talk about thankfulness or gratitude as our second half topic.
Yeah.
So gratitude is, I think it's important.
I also think it's important.
I didn't know how to phrase the question because I don't have a question written out for this, or like a driver written, but I know there's a lot to say. We'll get through it. So I was thinking that I wanted to talk about gratitude just because, of course, Thanksgiving and everything, being grateful, how that's the theme of that short little season between Halloween and Christmas.
Yeah.
But a certain story from I don't know how far in the past came to mind, and so I wanted to talk about, just so for us to think about it and for the listeners to think about it, why it's good to be grateful. And so I have one particular story, again, from I don't know how far in the past. It might be sort of recent, but it's not super recent. But I think it's like last year. But of an instance where a number of people, a collective of people, were being very ungrateful, and it was odd. It was like showing.
Yeah.
So the frontline youth, right?
Yes.
The youth in the church, they have Fly. That's what it stands for. People go, and it's kind of like a church service or a Bible study kind of mixed together, and everybody gets together and they be ministering to the youth. Pastor Scott and Miss Faith run that, and it's cool, right?
Yeah.
They be doing these, I think, on Tuesdays.
I used to be youth.
Or used to be youth. Yeah, he's past it now, y'all. No, but this was back when we were doing it on Friday. So we get together on a Friday night, like 7 o'clock. We do the lesson, whatever, and there's food. Every time there's a bunch of pizza, enough pizza for everybody to get like 2 slices provided. And so Pastor Scott and Miss Faith are buying this pizza every time. And week after week, we have Fly, we get pizza. We have Fly, we get pizza, right?
Delicious.
It's free for everybody.
I like pizza.
Tell me why.
I like pizza.
No, I mean, oh, hey, I'm sorry for y'all's ears just now. I just coughed in the mic. It was very loud. I saw the little monitor go red too.
God.
I'm talking in the green range right now, but it was red with that cough. Hey,
that was a cough.
yes, because I said no. Anyway, oh my gosh.
Okay, tell you why.
No, don't tell me why.
No,
Don't-
you said tell me why.
Is you gonna tell me why you like pizza?
No.
Oh. Okay,
I
well,
don't need to explain that. You know why I like pizza. It's delicious.
okay, fair enough. Well, that's what I was thinking too. However, I think it was 1 or 2 people start going, man, pizza again, when they walk into the room where the pizza's at.
Yeah.
Oh, we're having pizza again,
the
for
free
real.
pizza.
Oh, we got Little Caesars again. They're looking around like, and then the conversations are brewing. Yeah, like why do we gotta eat this every time? Like we coming to find. I'm like, what is going on? Because it's not like it's convenient to buy all of those pizzas for these little gremlins, us to eat. But it's so that we can enjoy the night, so that we don't have to go hungry for the night. We have Fly at a time, maybe when people be eating dinner or whatever. So the food is provided completely for free. But because it had been pizza so many times, people are going, "Oh, are y'all, man? I'm not even going to eat this. Like, I don't even know why they bought this. Like, and just tripping, absolutely tripping." But I think that came from just the perspective of being ungrateful for the fact that we had been given food in the first place.
Yeah.
And the entitlement to, hey, well, you better be giving me some steak and macaroni and cheese next time. You better slave over it for hours so I can show up and eat it and then leave. Like, just the lack of acknowledgement of the sacrifice that has been put in by our leaders in order for us to have that food. That the attitude is just nasty. And the people who are being ungrateful for the food, they're like, your attitude towards the people who got the food can't be right if you're gonna complain so extensively about it. It's like, what are you thinking about the leaders of the ministry? You know, it's like they're sacrificing for you, laying it down for you, and it's like it doesn't.
Yeah, it's like, you got to be mindful of when you react in that way, when you fail to show gratitude, when you fail to be appreciative. It's not just like, oh well, whatever, they don't care, or they just don't get it. I guess they're just privileged or spoiled or not grateful or whatever. But even more than that, you can start to, like sometimes people really feel like, well, then why do I do it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like gratitude is, a lot of people say, I don't do it for a thank you. Right. And that's true. But like, hey, bro, I definitely don't do it for you to complain about it either.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Like they're doing it for you, but don't act like you're not worth it.
I know, because then what happened was they stopped getting food.
Yeah,
I remember that. They stopped getting pizza for a little bit, and I'm sure they were like, "Oh, well,
I'm hungry.
I had some pizza right now."
Yeah. And of course now we got food all the time. Thank goodness. Thank you guys. I know you're listening. Thank you, Pastor Scott, your wife, for financing all that food all the time, and obviously all the rest of the efforts that y'all put in. But yeah, and I think more often than people think, we can be ungrateful.
Yeah.
And I think there are some issues that people don't even consider, that the root cause of a problem they're having is ingratitude towards other people or regarding a situation. Like, for example, for parents, like growing up for most of my life, when I was littler, I guess, or preteen years and stuff, every time our parents would do something wrong and it just wasn't right, like they did something wrong, then I took it like, oh, now I can pin it on them because they aren't upholding a perfect standard. So now I got them, even though all the times that I would misbehave, all the times they catch me doing something, or all the times that I'm talking back or whatever, and they're going about it whatever way they do. But then when they made a mistake, it was like, oh, now I got you. See, this is why I don't even know why you trying to tell me what to do when you made this one bad decision this one time. But that whole attitude is crazy, because it's just a lack of recognition of all the other times, when they're being patient for my sake, or taking time to speak to me for my sake, disciplining me for my own good.
Yeah. It's, how do I formulate this? It's not conducive towards a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Because there are those relationships that, sometimes you're wondering why things aren't going well. Or you're wondering, man, my relationship with my parents isn't going well, or
Right.
my relationship with my wife or my husband isn't going well. But then, if you really start to look at it, you have like this, there's no gratitude going on. You know what I mean? I was talking with a gentleman a while ago. Well, a while ago when this releases, it was like 2 days ago. And we were talking, and he was saying that, like, he brought up the example of like something simple, but like, you wake up to go to work and your wife made you coffee.
Yeah.
And it's like, awesome. Thank you for that coffee. Because I needed that coffee. Me personally, Isaiah Tihiro, I don't like coffee all that much. Like, I'll drink it, but I'm not trying to have a caffeine coffee ground bustelo, espresso, Starbucks, Panera, Dunkin' Donuts addiction.
Yeah, people with those.
Yeah, Elijah is in the early stages of coffee addiction. It's sad. Pray for him.
I'm what do you call it? Slowing off. What do you call it when you're quitting a drug? I'm quitting, but I'm not quitting. I'm still gonna drink coffee, but I've been on
weaning, like weaning off.
That's a weird.
Okay. That's it,
no, weaning. Yeah, weaning.
Yeah.
It sounds stupid now that I'm saying a bunch of weaning. But
that's the word. Anyway, so then you can start to get, I like the word Elijah used earlier, this entitlement, right?
Yeah.
Another word is you start to feel as though these things are obligatory, like, they're supposed to happen or whatever.
Right.
So then instead of thank you for the coffee, it's like,
give me that coffee, honey.
Yeah, of course I have coffee. We do this every morning. Or worse, let's say your wife didn't make you coffee one morning.
She got sick, or she stayed up all night the night before and she slept in a little bit.
No, I'm not even going to say she had a valid quote unquote reason, like she needs a reason. She just didn't make you that coffee that day.
Yeah.
You ain't going to be like, where's my coffee at?
Yeah.
What are you doing? And you don't even notice that the reason is because she felt unappreciated. Like she does it for you every morning.
Right.
And it's simple, coffee. And a lot of people can start to have this mentality that it's like, really, now you're going to make a whole big fuss over some coffee, and then, you're in pastor's office the next day talking about, and then she got mad over some coffee, like it was coffee she was mad about.
You usually hear the worst stories, like the worst opinions ever when somebody's walking around loudly talking about, and then she gonna get mad at me. Like, they are always super wrong saying that. In my experience, I'll hear people at school walking by and they're telling some story. They're usually on a FaceTime and it's like super loud and they're going, and then, yeah. And then he gonna get mad at me. Like, all I did was run over his car and anyway. Sidetrack.
Yeah, super sidetrack. This man said run over his car.
Listen, they got a monster truck.
Oh my gosh. No. All right. The point of what I was trying to say is that, something as simple as gratitude can be the linchpin. I don't know if that has anything to do with lynching.
What? What are you talking?
I just not thought about it. It was a linchpin, like, what held. All right.
Anyway.
It's episode 6.
Stop it.
It is a little bit. The linchpin towards maintaining a healthy relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the coffee example, you ended up in pastor's office and you feel so entitled and you're like, my wife is mad at me over some coffee. my wife is mad at me because sorry, sidetrack again. But and it's like
I don't think anybody's gonna get that.
that's okay. And it's like, no, it's because you need to show gratitude. You can't take your wife for granted. You can't take the things
Most
that she does
definitely.
for you for granted. And obviously I can only speak from, well, I mean, I'm not even married, but like, from my perspective, like I'm gonna have a wife. I'm not gonna have no husband.
Why
So-
not? No, I'm just playing. Look. All right.
So, you know, but I'm sure it's
I'm
the
sorry,
same
y'all.
thing in the other direction where, you know, your husband does things for you and, you know, you got to show appreciation to your husband in
Yeah.
order to maintain that relationship. And then to bring it home, I guess, not to bring it home, but to bring it to another aspect also, where we started is like with your parents or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
being appreciative of the things that your parents do for you.
Yes.
Not taking the things that, you know, the house you live in, the food you eat,
Yeah.
the air you breathe that's nice and clean and filtered. Yes, you have to pay for filters. Did you know that? You have to pay for clean air? That's crazy.
Shout out the Lorax. O'Hare Air. Sorry.
And so, you know, all those things is like, don't take it for granted, you know, even, you know, just knowing that, you know, people do things for you and they don't do it for a thank you,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that you don't have to say thank you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or that you shouldn't say thank you, or you should just come to
That you
expect
should. That you should just take it like it's nothing, because it's not nothing. It wasn't nothing to them.
Yeah.
And you know the popular phrase like, "Oh, give me my flowers while I'm still here." That is real.
a rapper phrase.
For real.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's a phrase. It's a common phrase, but not being grateful enough or showing enough gratitude towards somebody while you have them, or while you have their ear, while you're able to do something for them, usually ends in like it sets you up for a lot of regret if you lose that opportunity. If you take somebody for granted all the time that they're with you, and then they're not with you anymore, and you're like, oh, I wish I could have told them that I appreciated them, or I wish, you know, I would have thanked them for everything that they did. Like, yeah, definitely don't wait on stuff like that. If you have an opportunity to show gratitude to somebody for something that they did, or a way that they thought about you, or something like that, do it. Show it now, because you never know if, I don't know, people move in different directions, or people pass away. You know, there are different shifting dynamics.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to mention that not like even if you're not doing anything like complaining about the pizza that is super vividly ungrateful, sometimes you might be more grateful for somebody than they know, and it might be really helpful to express that to them while you have the chance,
Right.
because it might really help them. Like we talked about in a relationship between a husband and wife, but just the fact of relationship is that it's not a relationship is not an event or something temporary like that, but it keeps on going.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do something, the other person in the
Well,
relationship,
if you wanted to keep on going,
all right, yes, that's true.
they'd be grateful.
But if you do something for somebody, they're gonna remember it, you know. And so imagine the guy, the example with the wife and the coffee. The guy remembers, man, my wife is always giving me this coffee every morning that I'm getting up for work. She's doing all that just to refresh me. So then one day he might come home with, I don't know, some flowers for her, or come home with a box of donuts if she likes donuts or something.
Yeah.
But just to be like, hey, I've seen that you've been doing this whole time, and I'm grateful. I appreciate that. And then next time she making that coffee, she gonna have this big smile on her face, like, oh man, he knows that or you know what I'm saying, he
like,
appreciates me making this
for him,
right, and that's just going to inspire her to do more things to be helpful to him, and then he's gonna be more grateful because of those things that she's doing, and then you know what I'm saying, it's a good back and forth.
Yeah,
it is a good action and reaction, cause and effect type of thing. And so definitely show your gratitude towards people when they're pouring out to you.
Yeah, that's a mindset thing too. Like the way Elijah explained it was really good, but don't start making it like a formula. All right, I'm really grateful that my wife made me coffee.
Right.
So when I come home, I'm going to bring donuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or something like that. You know, it's more natural than that. Like, you know, like just knowing that your wife does things for you and loves you and all that. And it's just, you know, you guys are just thinking about each other because you appreciate one another.
Right.
That just comes naturally. Well, it should. That's how a good relationship is built.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have that already, you know, you should work on it. And if you don't have that, maybe with a friend where you know, you guys are friends, but like you're friends by proxy or something. You guys are friends because you're always around each other, but you know, so, you know, like a real friendship is built on more than just you're my age and
we're in the same place.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
So these kinds of things, you know, gratitude can be incredibly what indispensable. Does that mean you can't?
I think
invaluable.
Yeah, I hate that word because it's like sounds like unvaluable, but it's invaluable.
Yes,
like you can't put a price on it.
Facts.
It is super worth it.
Yeah, important.
Yeah. There you go. Important is a simpler way to say
nice and basic.
Yeah. And for those of you listening, make sure y'all being grateful to God too.
Yeah.
But as some people say,
to the Lord.
That's for free.
That's for free.
Just throwing that in on top. Definitely take a little step back sometimes and be
charging.
like, that would be $5 for that bomb advice I just dropped on you. I need it or unhear what you just heard. Your card declines and they take their statement back.
I take it back.
I hope you fail.
Oh my gosh.
So dumb.
Oh my gosh.
But
I really appreciate you. Thanks for getting that gas for me. Oh dang. I've left my credit card back at home. I don't appreciate nothing about you.
Oh my gosh, that is so dumb.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
But yeah, it's funny. We people will hear the stories about the children of Israel in the Bible, like where God delivers them out of Egypt, and they're like, oh, if only we were back in Egypt because. You know, at least we had meat while we were there, and at least we had asparagus and vegetables.
They had meat? I thought they were saying.
I don't know. They were talking about the good vegetables, the leeks.
Yeah, the leeks and the yams or something.
Can I get to the yams? Sorry.
Okay, bro.
Sorry. But no, we hear those stories, especially people who have been going to church for a long time, and then it's, you know, they paint the little picture and it's like, oh, those dirty Israelites, how dare they not be grateful for all that God was doing for them. And then, you know, Moses is their leader. He's the righteous man. And we try to put ourselves in his position when we imagine being back there like, oh, yeah, I would have been like Moses and be like, why are you guys being so ungrateful? Do you not know who God is? Do you not know how he's been providing?
Fine, God.
Shut up. Oh, my gosh. Y'all, if any of y'all got that reference, I'm sorry for you. Anyway.
Like having your destiny.
Why they gonna keep on messing with me?
Anyway. God keep blessing. All right.
Anyway, but more often than not, our behavior is reflected really by the Israelites and not by the righteous man or by some fearless leader. But we gotta humble ourselves and think about that. And I know this isn't the faith focused half of the podcast, but it's necessary to be grateful to God. And I'm just thinking about this now, and I don't want to forget about it while we're on the subject of gratitude.
Yeah.
But being ungrateful to those people in the Bible, being ungrateful to God in those times is what allowed them to start considering things besides God's will as an option. Like, well, God's, if only I could go back to Egypt, then I could have these leeks and I can have these vegetables, these nice, delicious vegetables.
Yeah.
If those delicious vegetables is not what God is trying to give them, then their attachment isn't to God, but it's to them vegetables. So they're like, well, I guess I'm gonna leave God for these vegetables back in Egypt. And so you got to recognize where God has put you. You got to know the pros of why God's got you where he's got you. Because if you're not careful, you can, if you're not appreciative of God, then you can take him for granted, and it starts to seem like God could be replaced with something more convenient for you or something more comfortable to follow. And then you could lose it all.
Yeah. Okay. Again, sorry for the shorter episode, you guys, but now it's time to say goodnight. So, we're done. Dude. This is what the podcast is. What I'm trying to say. With
he
that.
Didn't want to let me. He just wanted to get back to talking all of a sudden when I was gonna join in.
I was sparing you guys.
Anyway,
that was for you guys. What is the secret word?
Oh yeah. I was gonna say the thing from earlier.
We're not doing that.
Yeah, okay.
Reverse osmosis.
Yes, it's important to know.
Reverse osmosis.
Do y'all know how your water is being purified? I didn't think so.
It's reverse osmosis.
Reverse osmosis.
No. Okay. What's the secret word? Huh? Tell me.
Secret word is fun fact.
Oh, word. They're going to have to give us a fun fact.
Included in your comment. Hey, and for those of you who like to see me or Isaiah in person, walk up and do the secret word. It's funny. It's cool. As a matter of fact, I appreciate it. Don't stop doing that. However, if you're doing that and you're not in the YouTube comments, you're breaking my heart. You are.
Yeah, but if you don't usually watch on YouTube, you don't gotta make it go out of your way to just go on YouTube just for your comments.
But if you do go out of your way, I love you.
Yeah, I was thinking about
also.
putting a post up every time we release an episode.
Yeah,
on the Instagram, just so you'd be able to leave all your thoughts and stuff on one spot, the communal spot.
Yeah,
but whatever. That's up to you. Let us know. Does that sound like a good idea? If no, keep it to yourself. No, I'm playing. Stupid. If no, please tell us and all that. Thank you guys. We're appreciative of you guys for listening.
Definitely.
For supporting and for your feedback. And, a podcast doesn't make any sense without anybody listening. So you guys are really the reason that we keep doing it. So thank you guys. And
your thoughts and opinions are appreciated, and they matter. So if there's something that you want to see, again, it's not a guarantee that it'll end up on here, depending on whether it's good or not. But if there's something that you want to see, or maybe a question that you wish was answered, or a question that you wish was asked, don't forget it. Jot it down, put it in the comments or something, and we'll be able to respond later.
Yeah.
That'll make our podcast better because you guys are part of it, participating.
Yeah.
That's what
Definitely.
really makes it.
All right. Next episode is going to be a pastor's perspective, so get hype.
The
And
pastor's
The
perspective.
pastor's okay, bro. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Adios.